today we have a very uh it seems simple, but it isn't that simple really. Okay, we are now live. Welcome to In Tune with Kia Joon 26. I'm your host, Kia Joon. We skipped a week, but we're back, and I'm so happy to be here with some lovely people. Let's just introduce them right off the bat. Evan, how you doing, my man?
Doing good, Kia. Doing good.
Awesome. And we figured out some technical difficulties that we had earlier. Very happy about that. Keon, how you doing?
I am great. Just came back from work, rolled myself a J, and I'm ready for this podcast.
Yes, that's how we like it here. And I
Keon's
am,
ascended.
huh? You
Keon's
say
ascended.
send us ascended. Yeah, definitely. And today we have a very uh it seems simple, but it isn't that simple really. The topic is how to be happy. And that's a pretty broad topic.
Yes, it is.
And I would love to sort of ask really quick, Keon, are you happy right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, I am happy, but
Cool.
it is happiness is a feeling. So, in my opinion, feelings come and go, and it's important to feel every type of emotion. So, right now, I am happy, and I am happy because I went to work. It's a Saturday, and now I have my 2 day break. So I'm great. I feel good. I worked a full week. I'm proud of myself, and now I'm enjoying myself. So that's why I'm happy right now.
Well,
But
I'm proud of you too.
the whole week wasn't happy.
Sure.
You always. Oh, but anyways, that's for later, so we can talk about
Evan, are you happy?
Kind of happy. Like a medium level. It's a pretty
Yeah.
low key day. Feeling pretty good because I watched the TV show. But like in the moment. In the
Nice.
medium term, I was like bummed about that job stuff I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Um, Overall, I'm feeling pretty good though. I like the apartment. Like the new roommate. Lily's back. Um, Glad to be here with you today.
Yeah.
Had a nice convo yesterday, like I was saying. We're gonna do that again. Oh, I'm also gonna go visit my dad soon in Kentucky. I haven't seen him in a while, so that should be nice. So
Awesome.
some
Awesome.
stuff here and there.
That's awesome. And I
How about
might
you,
as
Keaton?
well, yeah, I was gonna say I might as well answer my own question, but Evan so graciously asked me. I would say that I am happy. I recently finished setting up my vocal booth. It's all systems go. I just need some acoustic treatment to get it to like the level where I want it. But overall, I'm very
Mm-hmm.
happy with how it is. And in the grander scheme, I'm happy with the direction that I'm moving in. And that's kind of the first thing that I wanted to talk about was like how I define happiness. So Keon brought up something interesting. He's like, "Well, yeah, I'm happy right now, but I was, let's say, sad earlier." And that's cool because happy can be in the moment. It can be for a split second. It can be from watching a TV show. It can be from like having a week's worth of work done, a month-long project finish, a year that was showing great change. It can be in all kinds of time scales, which is cool. And I think that you can call yourself happy and have a horrible day. You can call yourself happy and feel sad, right as you're saying it. You could be crying and say, overall, though, I'm happy. Um, so, yeah, I kind of wanted to bring that different dimensions of time to happiness into the playing field that we have today. But I wanted to see how do you guys define happiness? And I'm not talking about like happiness is when I feel joy. Like is it like more in the moment for you? Is it more like tell me how do you guys define happiness?
I mean, I'm a So I'm a guy who tries to live in the present every day. Like I try to live in the present. It's so I do feel so many different emotions because my mind's always scrambling. I'm always thinking about things like problem solving because I'm working most of the time nowadays. So it's just been like just thinking about the last month. Like I go through so many type of emotions just because I have to I have obstacles in front of me, and I feel like happiness only happens when you like go over that hump, succeed that obstacle. And it's just a feeling at the end of the day. And you're gonna be and in order to grow, I feel like you have to feel that stress, that sadness, that like desperation to like get something that you need to get, and then once you get it, that's when you become happy. So I just it's always like you have to set things. There's always obstacles in front of you, and once you pass that obstacle, that's when you like really feel happy. I just feel that's we're always striving to be better. We're always moving. We're always trying to change as people. So that's why that's my definition of happiness. That's a very long definition. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. And I love that.
Yeah, I would kind of second what.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna bring up that I like that you brought in like that hump, and like that's kind of like adds a failure element and like overcoming that. Not necessarily failure,
And,
but like there's a struggle and you
but
overcome it.
but failure, but when you fail, that's fine. You have to feel that failure in order to grow and try to feel that happiness. You don't feel happy, truly happy, once you like really fulfill things. Like really, once you like pass like a certain goal, and you know what I mean. And you like once you're with friends, you sort of can talk about like how you had a great week and how you did things for yourself to be happy. You know what I mean. And sometimes you don't feel happy. And you talk about that journey. It's always a journey, and I feel like the end of the journey is happiness. And you'll
Yeah,
never like it's always and it's like you can't be sitting around. That's the thing. Like it's hard to sit around and be happy because you're just there's nothing really around you to achieve. You know what I mean? You
sure,
gotta be moving. You have to be, and that's I mean yeah. I don't know. You always gotta like yeah. That's yeah. It's a yeah. It's a feeling. It's just it's a goal feeling. It's like something you want to feel. So you have to try to achieve goals. Yeah, that's it.
for sure. Evan,
Yeah, I
what were
want
you
to
trying to
sec. I
say?
mean, I would pretty heavily second what Keon said. Happiness isn't just the absence of negative feelings. It's a matter of activity, and as we know, obviously, physical activity, for example, exercise is heavily linked to positive feelings, endorphins, all that. Um, and yeah, I don't think I think maybe Keon dramatized it a little bit, talking about like the hump or the struggle. Like I don't think you always need to be like overcoming struggles like this Nietzschean Ubermensch, like fighting the monsters
Oh,
or whatever.
oh
Like
yeah.
I think there's something to be said for a certain level of like peace or
My passion
tranquility in your life.
probably
Yeah,
yeah like
passion.
yeah
Yeah, like a certain kind of activity,
yeah
but not like I don't know. Like you don't want to be like working your ass off to make ends meet, for example, where it's like, oh, like I got through this month and like I paid all my bills, but like I'm not really happy. I'm just like glad I got over it. But, or like, oh, I'm really glad I challenged myself, or like I set this goal
yeah
for myself and I accomplished that. But I think that kind of thing takes a certain amount of freedom, maybe, and maybe the kinds of struggles that like don't satisfy you feel kind of like you're trapped in it. Like, oh, I'm fucked here, but then I got out of it. I'm not like really happy. I'm just like glad it's over, kind of thing. Like
yeah
those two. Like I'm just trying to distinguish like two ways of like overcoming a struggle that one can lead to happiness and one might not, and one might the other. I think the one that doesn't actually might be more common, unfortunately. But
yeah.
Yeah. So I totally agree with both of what you two said, and I can definitely relate to the freedom aspect of what Evan was talking about, because sort of what I'm doing now, a lot of the day to day is based off of my 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 willingness to be a self starter. So when we set tasks for ourselves and we meet them, like that's really satisfying. And for me, I find happiness with meeting career related tasks. Um, because for the last 6 months, I had a big transition. So, this booth being completed is like really symbolic for me. What I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. And it's like for me now the doors have been opened, and whereas I felt like, oh, like if until this thing is done, I'm kind of just like on training wheels, and now it feels like, okay, well now I can go on these big boy bikes, and I have two wheels on my bike, and I'm sure I'll fall plenty of times, but I'm excited to fall and learn my technique better, and that makes me really motivated and happy. Um, but that's sort of on like on like my level. Um, Other than that, I'm glad you brought up physical activity, Evan, because it's hard to talk about happiness without talking about like living a balanced life. And of course, 90 minutes of aerobic physical activity is like a recommended minimum for an active week, for anyone. So yeah, just like being able to socialize with friends, being able to go through some physical activity every week, getting your work done, having time for your, hobbies or whatever you like to do on your free time. That to me, it screams happiness. Like I love that balance. But do you guys agree with that? Like I know it's kind of
Yep.
like, oh, do you agree with a balanced week being good? But like that really actually brings me happiness once like all those criteria are met for me in a week. But is it like that for you, or it doesn't really matter if everything's met?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, that was the idea of balance and a variety of things is something I wanted to bring up. But then I piggybacked off of what Keon was saying because I thought it was the key point is like about the activity.
Yeah.
But
Every
I
act.
think you asked us originally to define happiness. I think it's not one thing; it's a whole multitude of things. And it's a cliche, but I think it's true that you don't find happiness by pursuing happiness. You find happiness by pursuing concrete things in your life, relationships, hobbies, career goals, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And those things can you like taken together. And I do think that um, single-minded pursuit of a goal is often, I think, a detriment to happiness. Like, not that you can't have those core life goals, but as you were saying, balance them out with other activities, whether that's taking a break from studying or working to be with your friends or family, or go for whatever
Yeah.
it is to relax or do something else to you know and balance your life
Yeah.
with different activities, like you were saying. I think that's absolutely essential.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Keon, were
Completely.
you trying to say something?
No, I just agree with that. I just think the words I was expressing were just a little extreme to like by obstacles I mean like any type of obstacle, because like anything you do, like in any activity there is obstacles in front of you, like life obstacles that you have to do in order to do that activity, and once you achieve that activity then you're happy. Like it can be anything, like read a book, like do like the activities, like those hobbies you talk about. It just there's always obstacles in front of you. Life always There's always obstacles and you have to go through them in order to do what you need to do. So I think obstacles is also a very extreme word, but like I don't know. That's how I think about it.
So, I'm gonna flip the script now. At the beginning, I asked you guys, "Are you happy?" And I suspect the answer will be yes for all of us. But has there ever been a moment in your life where you would describe yourselves as unhappy?
I mean, all the time, right? Isn't that normal?
No,
Who's happy all day every day?
no, no. I meant
It's true.
like unhappy. Like, could you say you had like an unhappy month, an unhappy year, unhappy years? Like, that's what I'm asking. Like I guess I'm not asking. Oh, hey, have you guys been depressed? But like it like something along those lines. Have you come over, like have you had a period a, a prolonged period of unhappiness? Because I can say I have.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now the funny thing is, in that time, I was in college and I knew better. Like, I knew the building blocks of quote unquote how to be happy. But sometimes there's a disconnect between what you know and what you do. And I think that's one of the funniest things about like just humanity. It's like, you're not an animal. You have this wisdom, but sometimes your own mind can prevent you from doing the things that you already know. So let's say I was unhappy with the balance of my life actually. I was like, I'm not working hard enough. Like, work hard, play hard. It was like play hard, work like not really hard. So I was unhappy with that. And it took me too long to overcome that really. And the steps that I took to overcome that was actually talking to people who were happy, including like a therapist, right? But talking to people who were happy and just learning from them and like understanding that there's a time for reward and there's a time for hard work. And so even though you know that in the back of your mind, it's like what you don't realize is that the 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 hard work makes the relaxing time more rewarding and even more like earned. At least that's how it is for me. Like there's a difference for me between watching an episode from my favorite TV show after doing nothing all day and after like working hard all day. They're completely different feelings for me. And I want to see if you guys could relate to that in any capacity.
I mean, I'm sure Keon has a lot to say, being a hard worker right now. But I would just say for me, yeah, for sure. As someone who's like unemployed and not in school right now, it's definitely like when you're in school or like last year, like when I didn't have a job versus when I did have a job, like your days off feel better when you have a job than when you're just like in a free flow, you know? I mean, if you set activities for yourself, I think part of that is like making plans, like, to exercise, get out of the house, making plans to like meet people. Uh, I think those are basically the two keys, like physical activity, social activity. But even if you make plans for yourself, I think that yeah, having a certain amount of work and then getting off. I'm not a huge fan of like long work hours, like politically, but that's a different story. But yeah, Keon should, I think, say more.
I mean, like, I wish I just have more days off. To be honest, I'm so tired. I'm just adjusting to everything. I'm very happy what I'm doing. It's just like I don't know. I don't have time to have like a great like I don't really hang out with that many people anymore. Like it's just like I sort of do miss the whole like I've been happy. Let's forget about the past month. Before quarantine, I was having a great time. I was going to school and I actually stopped school, finished school, and I was doing some big things, big commercials. I did another movie. I was gonna do another big movie, and I was enjoying it. And I like the whole. It's it, it's just rewarding to do something that you love and then be appreciated by it and get good feedback by people and I don't even think I'm doing a great job. It's just I'm just being me and like loving. I mean, like you just the thing with me is that like the unique thing with my situation is that I'm doing a job that I love to do. Like it's hard to do something right now, right, that you love to do, right? Like it's so
Yeah.
um and I don't know. It's just really rewarding, and once you get that reward, I don't know. I don't know. It's a special feeling to just do something that you like love to do. Yeah, there's nothing else, and plus, yeah, I don't know. But I don't really have time anymore to hang out with people. So, and before then, it was just more like I don't know. I hung out with you guys a little bit. It was never really hanging out with people. I never made time with anyone. I've always like focused on work. So, but like when, yeah,
Yeah, and I don't think like that sort of idea of a balance is certainly a goal, but
yeah,
I don't think it's like, oh, in order to be happy, you have
That's
to meet
fair.
this criteria at
Yeah.
all times. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, you're working more than you're socializing. Sometimes you're socializing more than you're working, but you can obviously stay happy through those times. And sometimes you're forced into circumstances where, um, you're forced into circumstances that throw your life in imbalance. So one sort of relatable big one you brought up was quarantine, right?
Yeah.
And that sort of got me thinking about another question I could ask you guys. Um, when there is an external force, so like not something internal, when there's an external force that, has like
Like
a
Satan.
net negative effect on your guys's either balance or let's just say happiness, like how do you generally cope with that? Like, are you the type of person to be like, okay, well, I can't do this, what can I do? Or are you the type of person to say, oh, I was supposed to get this exact piece done and I only got 99% of it, that's it, I can't do anything anymore? Like, do you guys fall somewhere in between that?
In therapy, they call that all or nothing thinking, or black and white thinking.
Black and white thinking.
If you don't
Yeah. I
accomplish
don't.
all of it, you're a failure. So you shouldn't try to do any of it. Like, oh, I
Interesting.
can't run a mile, so I shouldn't run at all, or something like that.
No, that's that's
Interesting.
stupid. I don't like that. I don't like.
Yeah, so I think I listed both extremes, right? I was saying like, like for me, it's easy to like on a bad day, it's easy for me to be a black and white
Yeah.
thinker, right? But on a good day, it's
Uh,
easy for me to, say like, okay, fine, my studio is not up. How can I practice? That's easy depending on the day. But overall, like I would say, let's say during that period of time where I was unhappy, it was much more of black and white thinking. But these days, not so much. I rarely I honestly can't remember the last time I thought like that, which is nice. And yeah, I'm overall like a big fan of like there's this guy on Twitch who he's I think a psychologist, and he used that line. That's what I said. It's like, okay, you can't do what you were supposed to do, but what can you do? And like focus on that and get that done and find just at least the direction that you're going in is towards the goal that you're aiming towards. So if my goal is become a better voice actor, what are you doing to move you towards that direction? If it's nothing, then you're not doing anything productive. But if you're practicing this, if you're writing a script, if you're listening to ads, even, it's at least something. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And I guess you guys are already privy on that, but wanted to share that anyway.
So what do you attribute your newfound happiness to, like this change of mindset
So
about like not
yeah.
like dealing with like failure or like unexpected turns in life or whatever, and like picking yourself back up?
So I'll give you an example. I wasn't
Everything.
unhappy before I made this decision, but the difference is when I'm doing something I love, I'm happy to fail and I'm happy to learn from my failures. Whereas if it's something that I don't love, each failure feels less like motivation and more sort of negatively impacting. Now, what do I attribute like that sort of period of time that I was talking about that was in college, um that I overcame through just finding the proper balance of fitness and etc., like what we discussed earlier, fitness, socializing, and like really giving hard work its own place, even though the hard work I was doing at the time, I was maybe not as passionate about the hard work I'm doing now. I was still happy doing that and I found the rewards in that.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. So it was it's definitely a learning experience. But does that resonate with you, Keon, at all? Like because Evan talks about like, okay, well, is it harder being happy like now that you found this newfound thing? Like, would you say?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was. I mean, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I was pretty sad during quarantine because of that whole like stump. That whole stump. Like it just everything went away. You know.
The
And
film
I
industry,
was.
right?
Yeah. And I was just so shocked because I thought like everything was planned out. You know. I didn't. I got my associate's degree. I didn't even get my bachelor's degree. I'm doing jobs on jobs on jobs. You know, just commercial on commercials. Got my fucking movie again. I got like two. I worked on a fucking huge fucking film, blockbuster, 250 million budget film, dollar bill. Yeah, film. Was gonna get another TV. I was gonna get a TV show for a week. Then I was gonna be on a feature for another like a month and a half or something like that, starting in April, and then quarantine hit, so nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then after, slowly came back, trickled in, and like the first night, even before the first day, like June 16th was the day I think we filmed June 15th, the night of June 15th, but we like ended at like 7 o'clock June 16th. It was the Anderson .Paak music video for his like BLM music video for the BLM movement. It was so sick, and after I got more jobs, but it was like like very sporadic again. So I was like, okay, it's chill, but like I really wanted to like get those like TV show. So and I got it. And when I got it, I was like, oh man, it was the best feeling in the world because I was working hard and it was worked and I was pestering my fucking people, like Kia said, like once you like if you're not doing anything, what are you gonna do? I was texting my people, the producers, the second ADs, the first ADs. I was like, yo, what's up? Where's the movie?
Yeah, if
Where the
you're
TV
not
show's at?
looking,
Yeah.
nobody's there trying to find you.
Exactly, it's a hustle. It's a hustle business.
Yeah.
You're selling yourself. So it's fun. It's really fun. So when that hit, yeah, now it's been like a month now, a little over. Started. Fuck, I forgot what it's like August 1st, I think, or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta look at my paychecks, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been fucking fun.
Oh, it's good. I mean, the fact that you even remember the date of the night that you first started, it shows, you were really anticipating it. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it was such a fucking bummer, I mean, like I was like, shit, what should I do? Should I go? Because I just got out of school and I just got an associate's degree in film. That doesn't mean shit. And how's the film industry gonna come back and everything? It's been a positive, but like I also the negative about like this whole. So okay, so there's like a positive to this negative because like the positive is that because of COVID, we only can shoot 10 hours a day. So we can't do like any overtime. So like usually these guys go overtime, like 14, 16-hour days, but it's only been like 10 to 12-hour days. And that's been like very easy for me because I usually do 16-hour days. So it's been good. But it's been a lot of walking. So it's just been like consistently like 5 days every day. And I'm like, it's really hot. And it's just been like, I've been drained, but I'm happy. I'm just happy with what I'm doing. So I'm making a lot of cool friends, and I'm really making cool memories and learning a lot. It's been fun. So I'm very happy with what I'm doing.
And this is California summer heat. Like there was literally the hottest day in SoCal's recorded history. Just I think not even a month ago. So when he says I'm working and it's hot, like it's very hot. It's climate change hot.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news.
No, fake news my ass, bro. I passed the fuck
out. Natural heat wave.
Natural heat wave.
Bro, it's
oh man.
Dude.
Nature is healing itself.
Exactly. You gotta
No, bro.
Well, that's another thing is like being in nature. I mean, I know you guys had that heat wave, but like just like being outside, like not even like doing anything, just like being in your garden or something.
Yeah.
That's actually also gardening as an activity is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Emma left, she left me some plants that I inherited from her, and like I don't know, like just watering them every week, like you kind of feel like, yeah, like these are my like plant babies now.
Yeah.
And it's like something that's growing and it's beautiful and it's life and it's some kind of like primordial like satisfaction you have like with
Yeah.
just a seed that grows into a tree or a flower, or you know what I mean? Like
I mean, it's a
I can't explain it.
metaphor. It's a metaphor for like nurturing yourself even. Like, you need time and attention, and as long as you keep at it consistently, like you'll become this tree one day. But there's also an expression like relating to like, oh, like the pleasure of having your own garden. It's like there's an expression something like along those lines. Um, and yeah, there's actually I know a lot of people who have started growing like fruit and vegetables in their garden because of quarantine, and they all describe the same feeling that you're saying, Evan, like where they're really satisfied with the product. Even we did it. Like we grew some peppers, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, um, and
Whoa, really?
yeah,
You
yeah,
wh-
they're yummy.
where?
They're good in the backyard. I can take a picture and show you
Oh,
later.
that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool, and so it's definitely something I'm sure a lot of people in quarantine can relate to.
Yeah,
Oh, Evan brought his plant. Look at
that's what I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah,
See, Evan, that's what I'm
this
saying about
mom
like
she didn't like it because she thought it was ugly, but I think it's really cool.
No, that's
That's
cool.
what.
Evan, Evan. Going back to like the previous point I was talking about, like obstacles and being extreme about it. I have to be extreme about it because people are still quarantining. Like we're still in a pandemic. Like you have to remember,
Yeah,
and it's really hard for people nowadays to really get up and do something because it's very like, come on, a lot of people are unemployed. People are like struggling. Like people need money. Like people are really struggling right now. So you have to find like enjoy the little things. You have to enjoy the little things in life, man. Like you really have to like stop, look around you, enjoy the present. You have to enjoy the present for once, and that's happiness. I'm not joking. And being in the present is really like is the key of happiness in my opinion. You have to do it more. Breathing, like just take a moment and just feel what's around you. Just look at what's around you. Like enjoy what's around you. Like do little things. Like clean up. Do little things. Drink some water. Fucking do something for yourself. You have to wake up and do something for yourself. The moment you wake up, what do you gotta do? Brush your teeth. Stretch. Do things for yourself to make you feel happy, to enjoy your day. It's an obstacle. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not joking. It's hard to wake up and be happy. You have to enjoy something. You have to love yourself for fuck. I'm not saying it. But anyways,
okay.
yeah, love yourself first every day. But anyways, yeah, it's the best. You have to just like wake up and do something for yourself. I feel like I know I sound like a fucking like extremist right now
No,
about I
it's
don't know.
not. I don't think it's
It's
extreme.
but like yeah, it's just like yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, I like
Do
that
you meditate at
idea.
all?
What'd you say?
Do you meditate at all?
Yeah, I do. Time to time. Time to time. I don't take time to do it, but when I do, I do it. I do. I do. I do
Yeah,
meditate.
Yeah, I was meditating a lot like last year. Like there are some great like guided meditations on YouTube.
There's
You just sit
apps.
down for like 15 minutes, 20
There's apps.
minutes,
There's apps, man.
clears your head.
Yeah.
Another like mindful thing I was using, you can just like go on a walk or like a jog and like don't have any earbuds and just like be in the moment and like notice like what you're seeing, that kind of thing. And
Exactly, my
those like
man. Exactly.
scientifically it's proven that meditation and mindfulness
yeah,
improves your brain.
yeah. And I like the ideas of like being present that you guys are talking about. And Keon, you labeled yourself as extreme. I don't think it's extreme when, you don't see many people walking around the street now, but if you would walk around the street before, people's heads were like in their phones. They weren't being mindful of their surroundings. And it does make a difference. Um, and I like that idea of, go running without earbuds, like see what you notice. Um, and yeah, so on the notion of meditation, yeah, it doesn't have to be you know, religious. It can just be like a brain exercise. You know, you exercise your
Yeah, you're
body.
right.
Well, your brain is a part of your body, so give it some rest. You know, let it notice. You know, if you're stuck doing the same thing in the same location, well, have a change of pace. If you're really upset about being, I don't know, in the desert, well, like drive like 30 minutes to like I don't know, a lake. So well, I guess that's California privilege. I don't think everyone can do that. But you
No,
know,
but there's
point
things
is,
to do. There's activities.
yeah.
There's always something to do around you. And I know it's not like something you think it's like gonna help you, but like also there's YouTube. And I feel like we're so privileged as like I mean, I understand social media has like its pros and cons, but like you can just look up anything on YouTube and find something to do. There's so much time to do to learn anything right now. You know what I mean? You have the time to think about yourself. And like the first time, if you really think about it, you have the first time to really, I mean, not anymore because the world is sort of moving quickly again. But like before, you had the time to just think about yourself and really practice on things you really want to do. And like, it's so funny, like your story, Kia, about how you're doing voice acting, how all this started, and now like how the world stopped, and now you like had time to now practice your craft. And now look at this, like now the world's going back, and you're figuring out things, and you're doing your fucking shit. I can't wait. I want to ask so much more because I haven't heard about it in a
Oh
while.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
I
have a
can't
lot
wait.
to
I
share.
can't wait. Yeah.
And well, the funny thing, I always say this, but I made this decision before we were stuck in quarantine, and it just kind of worked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I
It's
got
insane.
lucky.
Yeah. It's
So
insane.
yeah, there's always like that leads me to something I wanted to bring up eventually. There's always a way to do like a mental shift about a negative situation. And I don't mean this in a privileged way where it's like, oh yes, I can do voice acting from my home with my computer and my microphone. No, it's like, no, not that. But um, you know, there's an example that I read in a book. It was like, what's the one thing that you would describe as, you know, objectively bad? And there's no way to spin it to be, you know, good. It's like your house burned down. It's like, okay, that sounds pretty bad. And then the guy says, well, you know, you have insurance money to get a new house. Or maybe this house was really bad and you were looking for somewhere to move anyway. Or maybe, oh, this was something that you were really attached to and you weren't letting it go, and now you've been made to let it go. Like the point is, um, even the worst circumstance, you can spin it to have some sort of positive out of it. Not make it a positive situation, but like find one positive thread and like hang on to that. Um, so whether it's quarantine and Keon says, okay, I don't have a job, but he's being proactive. He's like, well, I'm not going to start getting work out of nowhere if this whole industry is shut down. What can I do? So he starts looking elsewhere and he starts being productive in that way. That's going to lead to results. Um, I guess just, you know, being there's like this idea of being passive in your life and being active in your life, and like someone who's active in their lives doesn't succumb to like obstacles. And if there is a major obstacle, like if you're a soccer player and you break your leg, right, like that's probably a major obstacle to your career. You know, the active person is going to be like, okay, well, let me look into commentating, let me look into something like related to soccer, maybe I could be a coach, like whatever. My point is, like, I think that if you're someone who you know, really tries to make the most out of everything in your life, you can spin almost any negative situation to something that can be productive for you. And I wanted to see if you guys agreed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but like,
I mean,
it's
it's hard, but yeah, I agree.
I agree. Yeah,
It's
it's always hard.
hard.
It's you have to walk the walk. It's I mean, it's easy to say, hard to do.
Of course, no doubt. And I think that kind of idea applies to how to be happy. Like it's easy to say, which is what I experienced in college, right? It's easy to think of all the right things. It's hard to actually do it. It's hard to execute on your ideas and actually walk the walk. So very fair point.
Yeah, being happy is not easy. It's not, because it's a feeling. So and it's really hard. Yeah, you're always, yeah, it's a struggle. That's why I say that there's obstacles. It's always obstacles, man. Life, there's always obstacles in front of you, man. Even internal obstacles. Like, it's always fucking obstacles. So, and once you succeed, even the smallest obstacle, you have that little victory, and you're like, damn, man,
Yeah.
it's good.
You let those pile on. You know that meme? It's like, trust nobody, not even yourself.
Yeah, bro, you always keep yourself on a check.
Yeah, keep yourself in check.
I'm not. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I mean, I'm always on I'm always on the spotlight, but there's so many people watching you, and they're like doing what you're doing, and you don't want to look fucking bad, and so it's just, you gotta really look at. Yeah, you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and staying true to yourself as well.
Yeah. Be humble. Be humble. Be humble.
So, Evan, did you want to yeet in something? Because otherwise we can go into a break, and I want to talk about social media and the internet after a little bit.
Well, 3 words to live by: live, laugh, love.
Ah, live, laugh, love.
No, I mean, I agree with you guys are saying. I don't have anything to add right now.
Oh yeah, no worries. But we're gonna go on a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about like internet and social media when we return. So we'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back from the break. We're all feeling happy, presumably. Have had a good conversation so far, and I wanted to shift gears and talk about the internet. And I said this as a joke, but it feels like part one, it's like some varying part about whatever topic we're covering, and part two, it's like the social media and the internet's impact on it. But I think this one is definitely like granted. So I wanted to quickly point out, because I could blabber on about this for a really long time. Just wanted to point out, I think it's really interesting that the internet has has universal effects on people's happiness, whether it's like creating a dependency on it for happiness, whether it's a negative impact, whether it's a positive impact. Like, yeah, obviously everyone has internet. That's kind of how our world works. I get that, but it goes from uh, you know your grandma seeing a picture of a cat, right, and sending it to you, and to like a dank memer, to like a hardcore gamer, to like an Instagram influencer. Like, there are all walks of life that use the internet, obviously, and so I guess it only makes sense that happiness is kind of linked to that to some extent. Now, I don't want to go too deeply into it yet. I just wanted to sort of ask you guys, like, in what ways does the internet make you happy? In what ways does it make you unhappy?
Well, the internet is many things for me, because I think it can be a cheap happiness, a cheap thrill. Like, it can be cheap. It can be like a petty like happiness where you can like watch videos that like make you laugh and happy and stuff, but it's like very brief. It's not like something that really that you can like remember, and I don't know. It's just like it's like a cheap happy. It's how would you say that? It's like cheap. It's cheap. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But it also, like, people use the internet as well. People also use the internet for taking information in order to achieve other things, or they use the internet in order to, like, Twitch. Kia, you use the internet for the podcast and for your and for Twitch. So exactly. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can go to in the internet. So it's, I don't know. For me, I don't really use the internet that much. Besides, I don't know, information like emails and other things to help me succeed in what I want to do to make me happy. It's just there's other things. It's just the internet is so many things. I don't know. Like
Well, okay, I guess the question I have for
provides you
you then.
happiness. It provides you happiness in so many different ways. It's what I mean.
So okay, so for you, I guess the question that I would ask is, do you find that it has a net negative or net positive experience effect on your happiness?
Positive,
Yeah.
positive, positive. Definitely
Cool.
positive.
All right. Well, I'm curious to hear what Evan has to say, and then I'll share my piece.
I think it's so interesting, even though we talk about these things, like Keon was saying, the internet is so many things. And I remember when I was a kid, people would talk about internet addiction and these boys who played World of Warcraft all day.
Yeah.
But now no one would imagine talking about internet addiction because it's so ubiquitous in everyday life that
Yeah.
everyone has to be connected. So people talk about screen time, but no one talks about abolishing screens or avoiding screens. They talk about oh, I looked at screens for 11 hours today. Tomorrow I'll try to look at screens for 9 hours. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
It is.
And like Keon was saying, if you're spending a lot of time, I mean, even if you're working, I think that just working in front of a screen for a long time can take its toll on people. So I think as much as you can do the stuff we are talking about in the first half, like make plans, go outside, meet friends, pursue offline hobbies, read a book, something like that. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Nice. Well, I guess I'm the heaviest internet user here. I'm pretty much in front of my desk all day, every day. But I do try to go out 5 times a week to work out. So I get out of the house at least five
Cool.
times a week.
You should
And
wear blue. You should wear the glasses. You should wear you should wear glasses.
I'll give you a I'll okay. It's a topic for another time. Thank you for the suggestion. Anyway, it's a whole thing. Anyway,
We'll talk.
so
Yeah.
right. So for me, the challenge is you're in front of your screen. You have an internet connection. You rely on the internet to be productive. How do you avoid all the distractions? That's kind of like my daily minefield to cross. And I feel like I've come up with a pretty decent system. And the system is that I set reasonable tasks that I set a bare minimum that I can easily exceed. I try to exceed it in different fields. And once I've done that, it's much more rewarding to do some distraction. Now, I would actually say that during that period of unhappiness that I was talking about earlier, the internet was the main cause of that problem. I think it's really easy, and maybe I'm transitioning to sort of the second part of like the more focused part of the internet that I wanted to talk about, which was social media. I think it's really easy, obviously, as we know, to fall in rabbit holes in social media, to fall in echo chambers, to fall in groups where you have a bunch of like-minded people who they either have the same positive views, the same negative views, the same political views, whatever. And I think everyone has this phase. It's like you just become sort of like Evan sent me a meme about it earlier. It's like you just get in your head too much. You start thinking too much. You become like nihilistic. You just like you overthink everything and you're not present, which is kind of why I like talking about that presence earlier. It's like everything is sort of conceptual for you, like and it's either conceptual about the past or the future, but not and if it's about the present, it's like it's more negative than not than positive. So that is what I wanted to point to. Like the internet is kind of like dangerous for this. Like if you don't know how to control your social media habits, screen time is one metric, but like specifically like your social media habits, who you follow, what type of content you browse, it can be very easy to fall into like these negative headspaces and rabbit holes because of it. So yeah, overall the internet
I'm
has.
curious what kind
Go
of
for it.
like content or echo chamber was negatively impacting your like
I'll give you an example.
headspace.
Think of the subreddit called Late Stage Capitalism. So in this subreddit, they
I was
give
not aware of
constant,
this.
huh?
I was not aware of this subreddit, but go on.
It's a huge subreddit. It's one of the ones that makes it to the front page like almost every day. It just points out some major failure attributed to capitalism. All right, now I'm getting an echo from Evan, but no, I think it's going away. Anyway, so it finds some major failure attributed to capitalism, and it just says like, oh, this is why capitalism sucks, and then everyone in the comments is like a negative Nancy about it. And I'm not saying it's not rightfully so, and it's not even that I disagree with the content, but if you flood your feed with stuff like that, and you refresh this feed like on an hourly basis and you read these posts every day, then guess what? You're gonna be a little bitter, and you'll have like a negative outlook. Yeah. So, hey, you trying to say something? So,
That's why it's so hard. I mean, and the things that we grew up as, like, I think middle schoolers when we first got Facebook. So like I'm telling you, middle school, like all these like Facebook comments and stuff. It's so hard for kids to grow up nowadays when they're so stuck in social media and they're like reading these comments and like looking at these weird things. Like they get into these weird like pages, or like they like meet the weird people online and they're so negative, or people when you play video
okay.
games are so negative and shit like that. It's like, honestly, nowadays I feel it's really hard for kids to grow up without being like psychologically like little fucked up
Yeah.
from like all this abuse online. You know what I mean? It's hard nowadays for kids. They really need to like focus on like not really those. It's hard to tell kids nowadays to, like, not be on social media and like focus on these things, and like how it does really not mean anything at the end of the day. Like there's more to life. Like kids make mistakes, you say stupid shit, like words, like these are just words at the end of the day. But there's so much online bullying, it's so hard. There's so much abuse online, so it's, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. So the thing you brought up that was interesting, uh, is like the idea of mental health that's related to generations that grew up with the internet. Now, Uh, that I'm not gonna go so far as to say it's directly from like abuse from the internet, but some sort of like the reward system of social media combined with what you're saying, Keon. I think, uh, not I think there are plenty of studies that will show that millennials are more affected by mental health issues at a young age than any generation previously recorded, and now Zoomers more so than millennials, Gen Z. So there's a lot to say there. And I think one thing that I have to say, like literally probably in half of all my podcasts, is social media is kind of designed to make you fall prey to this addicting mechanism of it. And you know, you have to, just like any other addiction, like you have to like kind of treat it like that. Like if you are in that camp where you are addicted to some social media platform, if like your entire happiness uh is dictated on how many Instagram likes you get, let's say, like it's devastating because that's exactly where they want you, because then you're sort of this prime user of the application, and you're
Fuck.
trying to force out any way to get good content to be promoted by their algorithm, right? So
Exactly.
so that's an extreme example, but I think a lot of people
Yeah.
can relate to that. Yeah, there are a lot of like good aspects of the internet, but I think social media is for the most part not good.
I don't know. You can't say it's because it brings a lot of people money too. You know, it's like also a business too. So it's I don't know. It's hard to say now. It's a different
That's
playing
also
field,
bad.
Kia. It's not bad if it's bringing people money. It's an easy way to make money for people. I mean, like I feel like at the end of the day, like endorsements, you know, ambassador being an ambassador for brands, branding. Now
Well,
there's fucking there's OnlyFans now. Like I think it's like yes, no, I'm not saying there's their negatives. If we're talking about the whole like if we're still talking about kids, yes, it's hard for kids. I do agree with you. Growing up, yes, but I feel like in the more like adult space, and if you're like in your high school, I feel like in a high school age too, I feel like kids can really like figure it out if you've been like your whole life going through social media. I feel like kids also can benefit from it as well. Like no, not gonna lie, kids can definitely benefit from social media at a very young age and learn how to be an entrepreneur at a very very young age. You know, I mean like there was a kid that um, started buying and selling shoes. You know, he used social media by buying. He like found out
I
about
guess,
like
Keon, we're not
you know
saying
what I
that
mean.
social media has no positives. I see it as an overall negative. Now you're saying there are positives to it. I agree. Do you see it as an overall positive? Maybe you do, but like the nitty gritty, I feel like it's like it's off topic even.
So Kia, we're talking about adapting too. The world is changing to more technology and more like virtual social media. You know, like running your own, like you know, being your own. I mean, really, I mean, like yeah, being your own boss, being your own. You know, like creating your own stuff. That I think that's the you know like the American dream nowadays. You know, being your own entrepreneur and creating something of your own. So and the social media, I think social media and the internet is a gateway to that.
No
So
doubt, but these are supposed to be used like tools, and a lot of people don't use them like tools.
yes, but a lot exactly. I do agree, but a lot of people use them for their own benefit as well. But I do agree with you. A lot of people do not use. I agree with you, Kia. But there's also positive to
Well, then
this as
that's what
well.
I'm saying. I feel like it has more of a net negative impact. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have cracked the code and they're not cripplingly addicted to it, let's say. But I
Mhm.
think if we're talking on a general basis, and not everyone's an influencer, not everyone, and you can argue influence culture
But
might not even be a
it's
positive
not
thing
just
to begin with. I certainly
Influence
don't
culture
think it
shouldn't
but
is.
exist.
I
not
certainly
just
think it
I'm not just
shouldn't
talking about
exist.
influencers. But I don't think influencer culture is also it's not the only thing as well. There's other things in the social media world that like you don't have to be a influencer.
Of course. I mean, it's a way to promote like whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be influence. I understand. I think
I mean, you can sell clothes online. I mean, I'm confused. You can sell clothes
I'm
online. You can
talking
do
about
all these
social
other stuff.
media,
There's so
not the
many.
internet. I'm talking about social media. Like, so yeah, you can sell clothes online, no
Okay.
doubt. But I'm talking about like your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like overall is a net negative.
Oh,
But we don't have to agree on that. We can just agree to disagree and move on.
okay.
Um,
Okay. So I
so
was gonna like, what does Evan think?
huh? Evan?
I
Go
was gonna
ahead.
say, what does Evan think? Yeah.
Oh well,
What
I
does
mean,
Evan think?
I think I disagree. I think you look at the economy and people aren't becoming these. I mean, I feel like this was a narrative being sold like 5-10 years ago. Like, oh, anyone can be an online entrepreneur, but it hasn't happened because there's like two companies that dominate social media, and then there's like Amazon, and good luck making money selling shit on Amazon because
That's
they'll
true.
price you out and
That's
they'll,
true.
they'll they'll crush small businesses online. Like it's really hard to sell, compete with these things. And most people aren't, you know, making businesses. Most people are more likely to find gigs like as Uber drivers or OnlyFans or something, and like jobs that don't have great benefits or really job security, and it's all like this flex time bullshit. Work 12 hours a day, or like I don't know, chat with horny men 20 hours. And I'm not like slut shaming, but I think that like working for OnlyFans or driving Uber 10 hours. I mean, there was a thing on CNN about like, oh, this guy like gamed the system and made like $8,000 in a month. It's like, yeah, but that's because he worked for Uber for like 12 hours a day, every day for a month. And he was like a vet or something and he was out of work. It just was like, it's really depressing that people are like working this hard as these kind of like soul sucking jobs that don't really support them. I think that's kind of like what the internet is symptomatic of, is this like super deregulated like capitalism where there's no like job security and there's no like sense of purpose or community. And it is, Keon, I think, did point out one thing. Like, I wouldn't call it being your own boss. It's sort of like you're on your own, and like no one's going to help you out on like the job market, or like, you know, you're just kind of thrown into it. But I would consider it a net negative, and I will stop ranting now.
So that's said and done. It was a little off topic, but it doesn't matter. It's all good. Keon, what did you want to say?
No, nothing. I like the Evans points.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Flan in the chat brought up something interesting. He says, well, I guess to quote him, it lets the losers congregate and they find their community. Now, what he's getting at is kind of like an incel community, an anti-vax community. Like all of these fringe groups can find equally negative people, equally you know, like people who are in that same headspace. And we talked about echo chamber, obviously, but I'm not going to make a claim like there are more incels now than ever. Obviously, it seems that way because they're more vocal, because obviously you didn't have groups of incels before. And if you did, it probably wasn't as big as having an entire like subreddit, entire websites, entire blogs, platform, whatever. So I won't make that claim, but we do know that they're out there, and we do know that they can get better. All of them, you know, whether it's someone who needs education, or someone who needs a friend, someone who needs like a girlfriend. I don't even know. But the point is, a lot of these people are like meeting humans who are literally in the same position as them, have the same headspace. Like, it's not growth. It promotes I don't know what the stagnation. That's the word. So I think that's I don't really know how you overcome this. Like anti-vax, how do you overcome an issue like that? I use that as an example. It's not really related to happiness. Incel is much more so. But how do you overcome an issue like incel or anti-vax when people are getting even more larger platforms who are a part of these groups? They feel emboldened by their beliefs because they have so many people who think like them. Even if you know better, like what is, you know, what's the limelight there? Oh, I'm forgetting the word, but what's the positive side to that? Do you guys see, like, if you have?
Well, the positive side is that you can find a community online that you couldn't find in your physical environment. I think we talked about this on your episode about like community and living somewhere, being an outsider in society and stuff.
Yeah. No, I think community is inextricably linked with happiness.
You call us losers, we call ourselves the avant-garde. You know, like, we're the next generation of like thought leaders or whatever.
Oh man, Keon, what's up?
And you know, like, to bring it back to Keon's point, Mark Zuckerberg was just some loser in his college dorm, and he became the internet entrepreneur par excellence. You know,
he did.
Yeah. There's a really good. I'm plugging this documentary because it has to do with what we're talking about right now. Like literally right now, it's called Ghosts of Sugarland. It's on Netflix. It's a short doc. It's like 20 minutes long, 21 minutes long. It's really good. It's about this black man who lives in which state does he live in? Okay, well, he lives in so he lives in Midwest, where there's no like everyone is basically white, and there's a few a group of I think Palestinians, but they're Muslim, so they're Muslim. There's a Muslim community as well, and he just joins the Muslim community because like the white people are basically racist, and he basically like studies the whole Muslim religion, and he joined actually on Facebook, and he was on Facebook, and he was like joining the Muslim groups and everything, and he became basically an extreme Islamist, and he went to Turkey to become what did he become?
What, an imam or something?
I forgot what he. Yeah, but it's a really good documentary. It's really well done in my opinion.
Well, what was your takeaway from it relating to this subtopic?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely get lost. You can lose yourself. It's that's the thing. You just gotta find a sense of reality at the end of the day, and sadly, some people take the wrong road. Like you know, I don't know. I just you can definitely lose yourself in the internet, and yeah, I don't know.
I just thought of something. I don't know if this is me forgetting, like if someone ever said this, but I feel like if we were to make a generalization, it's like if you go looking for something online, you'll find it. Like it could be
Yeah,
anything, and you'll just find it.
yeah, no,
So,
you're right.
if you have that positive attitude and you're looking to find things that will uplift you, things that will help you be productive, you'll find it. If you're looking for things that will make you depressed, if you're looking for things that will like ruin your day, you'll also find that. So, I think that goes back to just like taking matters in your own hands, and then you decide. Like I told my friends, I created an entire Reddit feed of cute animal videos, like wholesome memes, bird videos specifically. And I said this. Did I say this off camera? Okay, well I'll repeat it anyway. I look at this feed like every morning for like 10 minutes before I get started, and I always start my day with like a smile. So if you want to do that, you could do that. And there are just ways. It's like, okay, if you want to laugh really hard in the morning, go follow a bunch of comedies pages and look at that. If you want to get motivated to exercise every morning, download an app that will motivate you to do so. Keon, so
If you want to cry, go watch some, people finding their dogs, or or
people finding their
kid
dogs.
reunites dogs, or
Oh, okay.
parents getting surprised by their kids. That's
Oh
a
yeah,
good
yeah,
one
yeah.
too.
All those like homecoming videos and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're there.
Some
Or you could
tearjerkers, some good
Or you could
tearjerkers.
read this president's tweets. Am I right?
There are also I read on the internet that there are horny milfs in my area, and that makes me happy. So that's
Sarah, what in
also
your email?
there are horny
What
milfs.
did you say?
There are horny milfs in my
Oh,
area,
okay.
so that makes me happy.
Well, that's great, Kia. I'm really happy for you.
I'm happy for you too, man.
Anyway, I
Slide in
think
those DMs.
yeah, horny milfs hit me up. Anyway, so is there any sort of topic you guys feel like we didn't get to, or do you guys want to like wrap things up and make closing statements? Or Keon, what's up?
No, I think it's good. I think we're chilling.
I thought you were raising your hand again.
No, I was just stretching.
Okay. Well, is there a closing thought you wanted to give us, Keon?
Yeah, just I think the last thing I'd say is be productive. I think productivity comes with being happy with yourself. Doing things that you love. Just focus on things that make you happy.
Mhm.
It's like it's really easy nowadays to find things that make you happy and like motivate you to do more. And try to find that. And once you find that, I don't know. You gotta, and you always gotta adapt. Life's never, and don't be complacent. Never be content. And I think once you're like very like comfortable, your happiness is sort of fake, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is all my opinion. So I just feel like
Wait. I
don't be
lost that
complacent.
last part. Your happiness is fake if you're too comfortable. Is that what you said?
I think if you find a comfortability and you're too comfortable, like I just feel like it's just I don't know. I feel like it's like you're. I just think you always need to strive for more. I'm a guy
Oh
who thinks
yeah.
about
Okay.
like
Yeah.
so that's just me. I don't fake might be a wrong word, but yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I just don't agree with being complacent. I don't think
I get you.
complacency equals happiness. It's not. Yeah.
I get you. Evan, what about you?
If you want to be happy, look up Dutch rabbits on YouTube. This guy Bob Bergeen has a video showcasing the 6 different breeds, and that video will make you very happy.
They are
Um,
very round.
Otherwise, I mean, Bush did 9/11, Inside
Yeah.
Job. Look
Uh-huh.
up the conspiracy theory. I can't convince you that it will make you happy, but you'll know the truth. And isn't the truth the greatest happiness of all?
Wow.
And live, laugh, love. Cannot emphasize that enough.
Yes.
Words to live by. Yang Gang 2020.
Yang gang.
And
Yes.
congrats to Kia on the horny milfs in his area. So.
Absolutely. And words from a fellow member of society, I see. Anyway,
Yeah.
I want
and watch
to
anime.
watch anime.
If you want to be really happy, you got to watch anime.
Gotta. I wanted to wrap up with 2 things. So number 1, if there's like a source of unhappiness in your life, try to get rid of it. And if you can't get rid of it, put any positive spin on it. A classic example that I hear so many of my friends say, it's like, "Oh, I live with my parents and they do this that I don't like." It's like, you're going to live with your parents for a bit, you have to find a positive spin on it or you're going to make yourself miserable, right? So, I'm sure that's relatable for some, hopefully not all. And then another thing I wanted to say, kind of parroting the words of Dr. K, who's a healthy gamer. Go check him out on Twitch if you haven't. Always think about if you're feeling like very unproductive today. It's like, okay, fine, but do you have to be unproductive all 16 hours that you're awake? What if you're unproductive for like 15 hours and 30 minutes? Like, what can you do in those 30 minutes? If you're like in a really desperate position, like I need to get a job. It's like, well, do you have a resume? It's like, well, I can't muster up the courage to get a resume. What's the point? Who's accepting jobs? Oh, it's a pandemic. And you're in this negative headspace. It's like, can you download a template? Like, can you click a button? Can you put your name in, your address? Like just do anything that moves you towards the direction that you want to go in. And I think that starts an avalanche effect. And if the avalanche stops, just small steps. Okay? Maybe your name was too much. Just put your first letter. Something. Just move in that direction, all right? Do anything productive. And eventually you'll get that momentum going. So, you have been
That's a live, laugh, love mindset right there.
That's a live, laugh, love mindset. You have been in touch, and now you're in tune with Kia Joon. So thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your evenings. Bye-bye.